10610, close parens, south of the properties along MacArthur Road in the city of Waukesha. Lot 1 is proposed to be 5.89 acres, parens 5.7 acres to the Fox River meander line, close parens, and Lot 2 is proposed to be 6.71 acres, parens 5.68 acres to the meander line, close parens. This will be a discussion by the Plan Commission and Village Board, possible action by the Plan Commission, possible action by the Village Board. I believe Mr. Danner, the petitioner, is here. We're going to let Planner Malarkey introduce the item, please.
Certainly. What you see on the screen above you, this is currently an outlot. It's outlot 1. It was created in conjunction with the lot to the west back in 2008. The petitioner owns the property in the city of Waukesha. They own the outlot, and they also own the property of the city of Waukesha directly north along MacArthur Road. What they'd like to do is split the outlot down the middle, basically straight up and down, where they would retain ownership of the new lot 1 that's created on the west side, and which actually has access. There's an access easement through their property to get to MacArthur Road from that outlot. And then the east part of it, which would be lot 2, I believe would be sold to their neighbor, Mr. Burry, on the east. And so that basically lot 1 has there's a little bit of area here that's potentially developable. The whole outlot is zoned a combination of I-2 general industrial under village zoning, and then the remainder is zoned county shoreline zoning, which we now administer, but it's also M2, which is our manufacturing district, but there's a lot of it's high groundwater, floodplain, environmental corridor. So virtually all of lot 2 that would be created is not developable. There's only a small portion to the west that might be. I mentioned the access from the current outlot that's through the parcel here on the west side. There's currently a 30-foot wide joint driveway access easement that's noted on this certified survey map for the outlot. The outlot also has a note on it that says that the certified survey map, the outlot 1 of the CSM may not be sold separately from the petitioner's parcel on MacArthur Road. And so that note currently exists. It also states that the creation of outlot 1 as a parcel not abutting a public road, because it was basically created, it's landlocked, doesn't abut a public road. At the time, Waukesha County Parks and Planning Commission approved that on September 4th, 2008, the fact that it did not abut a public road. So if this gets split down the middle, and this becomes lot 1 on the west and lot 2 on the east, again, access will be maintained through the petitioner's parcel to MacArthur Road for lot 1. Lot 2 would not have any access easement, and so a note or something would need to be added that said that would require it not to be sold separately from the property on MacArthur Road, which would be the new ownership. But if we do split out lot 1 into 2 lots, we do have a provision in our ordinance that states that all new lots or lots created would need to have access to a public street for at least 66 feet. Neither of those 2 lots would have access, and so if you chose to approve the CSM, you'd have to grant a waiver from that provision. And on page 2 of the staff report, sort of the middle of the page talks about the waiver requirements. You don't have to find a hardship to grant a waiver, but you do have to consider certain factors. There's also a provision in the CSM that created this outlot that talks about it may not be further divided without approval of Waukesha County Park and Planning Commission. And I don't have the answer to this, and maybe Attorney Macy could weigh in on it. Since Waukesha County no longer has approval authority over certified survey maps that we have in the village, and they don't approve land divisions in the shoreland areas within the village anymore. I'm not certain whether or not we can act alone, or if Waukesha County needs to also approve that, since that specific note was added to the map. I do have a couple of points. There's just a couple of corrections. Every reference to the town of Waukesha needs to be changed to the village of Waukesha. We need to remove the signatures from the city and Waukesha County for approval. There's a note that needs to be updated for the wetland floodplain primary and corridor district on sheet 7. As I mentioned, we need to add a note prohibiting the sale of lot 2 separately from the parcel directly north. Add a note indicating that a waiver from the public road frontage required for lot 1 and 2 was granted if it is granted. Update notes on sheet 8 of 8 to reflect references to lot 1 and 2 instead of the existing outlot. It still refers to the outlot instead of the lots 1 and 2. And then that finally, the petitioner should verify the gross acreage of the proposed lots as the sum differs from the existing outlot. So the outlot that's currently recorded has a total acreage that's different than the sum of the 2 new lots that are created. So that would need verification. I guess my biggest question here for the petitioner is, why do these need to be lots at all? Why can they not be outlots, since they wouldn't be further developed or further divided? The other comment that I have is that, zooming in here, there's a parking lot and an accessory building that's connected to the petitioner's property on MacArthur. So I asked the clerk about a month or so ago to see if she could find anything in terms of approvals of this parking lot and accessory building, and she did not, nothing came up and nothing was approved. So essentially, there's a parking lot on an outlot on this parcel that isn't, you can't develop an outlot. And so I'm not sure how that happened. If you look at the property to the east, the Burry property is also some bleeding of their operation onto the outlot as well from the city. So those are the only comments I have, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Danner, welcome.
My name is Dean Danner. I'm the general manager of Esitec, 1915 MacArthur Road. We're the owner of the outlot. A couple things. One, I'm not sure why they listed as lots. They would both be outlots because they're, like you said, they don't have any access to streets, so they would have to remain attached to the city properties just north of them and not sold separately. As far as the outbuilding and the parking lot, that occurred back in the 90s, and those were all approved at the time.
Approved by the town of Waukesha at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there was building permits for the pole barn, there was building permits for the parking lots.
I guess my question is how was development of an outlot approved?
At that time, it was not an outlot. We actually owned all the way out to St. Paul Avenue.
Oh, before this was divided and the outlot?
Before this was divided into an outlot,
And the
yes.
outlot was created after the fact?
Yes.
That still doesn't make a lot of, sure. So that still doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense, because if there's development on a parcel and you convert it to an outlot, how was the outlot ever created in the first place if there was actually development on it? Because an outlot cannot be used for development purposes. So I wasn't around at the time. The clerk couldn't find any record of that approval, so I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah. It was existing, the county basically grandfathered it in.
So would the survey stakes be in the middle of the parking lot then?
Well, the city line actually goes right along there between the city and the village.
So the building that you currently own is in the city?
Correct.
The main building is in the city, yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This piece of property originally was connected to the property that Quick Trip is on. Quick Trip didn't use the whole property, and that outlot got attached to their property when Quick Trip purchased their land and did their building.
Correct.
But that parking lot and the garage were there.
Before this
That-
division ever happened.
Yeah. His building actually used to be in the town of Waukesha. We used to do fire inspections there.
So your recollection is that the parking lot and the pole building that are in right there, you can't see it, sorry.
I have it
But you
on
know
there.
what I'm talking
Yep.
about. That was there when the outlot was created, that's your recollection.
Correct.
Okay, fair enough.
How was the outlot created?
It was a remnant piece. Quick Trip didn't want to buy the whole thing, and that's the only, up to that line is where they purchased, and
By exchange of property between property owners?
it
or
could have
CSM?
been, I
It
believe.
was CSM, it was done by a CSM, I looked at the CSM, there's no notes on there. There's a note recognizing it didn't have access, and there's sort of a waiver granted because it didn't have access, but there's no mention of the building and the parking lot as a waiver or an exception or any of that. So it may have been recognized at the time, but there was no record in the CSM creation about it.
So do we collect taxes on that outlot?
Yes,
Oh, okay, I figured that we would.
yes, and the intent is to continue the outlots to be in the village of Waukesha, so
Yeah.
you would continue to collect taxes.
That's why we don't want to attach to your building,
Correct.
to your lot that your building is on.
Right, there's no sense paying
'Cause
city
that was my-
taxes on that property.
That was my next question, but it got answered along the way here.
Yep. And the technical corrections, the town versus the village, and the other technical corrections that he had pointed out to us earlier, they have been passed on to Yankee and Yankee. Yankee and Yankee agreed that if this is approved, they'll update the CSM and submit it after the approval to make, before everything is finalized.
So we can't develop on outlots, is that correct?
That's correct.
So what's your interest in, what's your intent to do with the land?
Our intent?
Yeah,
We use it, we have Boy Scouts that camp out there. It's used for recreation. Jim Burry wants to use his part, he still does, he actually uses it for recreation and some agriculture. And his concern is, should our business ever get sold, he wants to own that piece to prevent it from going with the rest of the property. He approached us.
I understand. What are those lines on there? Are those just,
Oh, those are mowing lines.
okay, thank you, perfect.
Yeah, it's for the scouts to
Okay,
do all sorts of stuff.
Well, it's currently zoned industrial, and it's an outlot, and so I'm not really sure how scouting fits in with the use of the property. I mean, zoning is in place to regulate the use of land, and so what permissions or what permits have you sought for the scouting and the camping on the property?
Esitec provides space for the scouts at no charge, and use of our facility is no charge, because they're not erecting anything or doing anything permanent on it, they're just using it. This land was originally all zoned agriculture, because it was, I believe, a pumpkin farm.
I mean, am I the only one who has thoughts about the use of the land?
Well, it's not illegal.
Okay,
If that's your question.
I just feel like I'm the only one hanging out here, I mean.
I think that was the planner's polite way of saying that.
I mean, I didn't mean to open a can of worms, I just couldn't figure out why we were doing this, and,
We would have no objection to changing the zoning, because we have no intention of building on it.
sure.
So to make it for recreation use,
But you've already built on it.
well,
Right.
that exists.
Right, and that parking lot's used as part of the business, so you can't change it to, say, an ag or a recreational zoning, because that's part of your business. Unless you split that parking lot off for, as part of your business, and then let the rest be an outlot for some other use, and rezone that to recreational use or something along those lines.
I can't recommend that we conditionally approve with all of the problems that this has. They're coming back with outlots, they're coming back with, you know, the proper notes. They've admitted they have uses of the property that aren't legal. I just don't know where we go from here. This is a complicated situation.
Yeah, we were not aware that for the scouts to use it for exercises and that there needed to be a special approval. I'm not sure what approval we would ask for.
Well, you need a rezoning for one, to a district that would allow that type of a use.
So you can't,
So what do they
Just
do?
for
what- so-
instance, a
so what-
P1.
So maybe, so what, do they camp overnight there, for instance?
They have, yes.
So yeah, so it needs to be, for one, a district that will allow overnight camping.
What would that be?
And it could be a P1, I'd have to take a look at it, but it's something we could talk about later if you're interested. But we couldn't rezone the whole thing because of the parking lot that's associated with your business, so that would have to be split.
Would parking, P1 permit a parking lot?
It sure would, but is the parking used as part of your business or is it not?
It's used as part of our business and it's used by the scouts.
Sure. But if it's used as part of the business, it'd need to be zoned. What was that?
No, my question I got is can we still approve for lot 2? And
On the
deal
east
with, yeah, because he's not really using it other than agriculture, isn't that what it's, if I remember right, isn't it zoned ag?
No, it's zoned a combination of M2 for county shoreline and I2 for village, but it's got overlays for groundwater and floodplain and environmental
So I mean,
corridor,
can we approve the split to lot 2 and then deal with outlot 1
No,
and do the zoning and hit application later? No? Okay.
it's a package.
I was trying
See,
to
there are other
expedite this a little
options
bit,
that aren't
but.
even being discussed. He could have done a 2-lot CSM or a 4-lot CSM, 2 in the city and 2 in the village. That's very complicated, but it's done, and that would give him different rights. It wouldn't solve all, there's just too many issues here.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what I was trying to avoid
And
is,
my recommendation is he withdraw it and have Yankee and Yankee resubmit it after talking to the planner and dealing with the issues.
okay.
You know, he doesn't have to withdraw it, you can deny it, but conditionally approve it's gonna take a while, because we gotta write out all the conditions. Because we didn't know all of this when this.
No, we were not aware of the scouts was a problem either.
But sir, and I'm not sure we couldn't get there, it may take some steps, but to approve this one, I mean, I can't tell you to withdraw it, but you might get a denial, which most people don't wanna get, and you've already admitted that Yankee and Yankee's gotta redo it anyway.
Yes, they have to update it because this was done way back in the spring when it was still a village. I mean, it was still a town.
So are you, Mr. Dan, are you amenable then to withdrawing, suggestion of the attorney at this point in time, are you amenable to withdrawing and go back to the drawing board, if you will, with Yankee and Yankee?
Can we get on the next meeting agenda?
Probably not. I mean, typically that has to be in place the month before. Am I not right on that plan of
Yeah,
monarchy?
so we wouldn't
So-
have, after talking and then having Yankee and Yankee draw it up, it might be a couple weeks before that we even have something to look at, and we need something a month ahead of time to get on the agenda.
So it's probably looking at November realistically?
Okay, because we'll also have to extend the purchase agreement because that expires at the end of this month.
Understood.
What is the preference? To split it into 3 lots,
Outlots,
3 outlots, 1, 2, and 3?
well, the northern one wouldn't be an outlot. The northern one with the parking lot would be a lot.
Well, then they have to, in my opinion, they would have to do it with their city lot.
Attach it to their city lot.
And that means they have to recertify their city lot and go through the city approvals. It's a double jurisdiction
CSM, right.
And
that's why I said,
Well, what
this
if,
is confusing
but,
and there's
but,
different options.
but what about the idea of that the parking lot gets made as a lot? It doesn't attach to the city parcel, that the existing easement that's already there, there's a 30-foot existing access easement that's already
As
there.
I said, how many hours do you wanna spend on this tonight? I said, we can work this out tonight and work out conditions.
No, I'm asking if there's, I don't wanna bring this back and have issues next time around, so,
I'm
question
not
is,
going to recommend that they ever create a lot on an easement.
sure,
Because it sets a horrible precedent and everyone's gonna ask for it, and that's where you're going. If he creates a lot for the parking lot and the accessory building, it's a lot on an easement. that-
Right. And that's the feedback
Once you open that door, everyone's gonna ask you to allow them to create lots for their unique situation on easements.
Is your neighbor who's buying the other part, is he in the city too?
Yes.
What if they both came back to the village?
I like that idea.
I'd like it from the tax standpoint, but the city would never go along with it.
Well,
I think, Mr. President, if we may, go around the table and say, if all the details can be worked out, does anyone have objection to what he's trying to accomplish? That would be helpful for Mr. Danner. if I
Yes.
may call you.
all right, let's go with that. Let's start over here with
I think
you.
it's a good idea.
Okay,
I have no problem.
I have no problem.
No problem.
I've got personal connection with Troop 4, which utilizes that particular lot, so I'm gonna recuse myself.
No problems.
I'm good.
so that
I still recommend
goes
you
all around.
withdraw it and get it back here after you work out all the problems and legalize everything with the planner and your.
Makes sense.
Does that work for you?
that works for me, yeah.
All right, so can we have you ask to withdraw then, and we will
I would
proceed
like to
accordingly?
withdraw it at this time.
Okay. Do we need any further discussion at this point in time? If not, the Plan Commission would have to act first, and the motion on that would be to,
If he withdraws it, we don't have to do anything, do we?
I guess, who wants attorney here, do,
Doing some stuff that's not rezoning just to
There's nothing to act on.
just use for records.
Right. Yep. And then what will we zone that little piece of?
Attorney Macy, do we need to take action? I mean, he's indicated his desire to withdraw. Do we need to take action to affirm or acknowledge his request?
Oh, so that would just
Have
stay
the minutes
industrial.
reflect that the certified survey map has
Okay.
been withdrawn, no further action.
So we don't need to do anything further. Okay, thank you, Mr. Danner. Then we'll go to item 15 here. Discussion, possible action to approve a 62-foot by 110-foot, 6,820 square foot accessory building to be used for agricultural purposes for the petitioner. The height of the proposed building is 27 feet as measured from grade to peak, and the building includes metal roof and metal siding. The petitioner is now requesting modification of the proposed building, which will have a footprint of 62 by 122 for 7,564 square feet. This is the request of Mr. Fendrick. Did I pronounce that correctly? Petitioner present? You are indeed, thank you. So this would be discussion by the Plan Commission, Village Board, possible action by the Plan Commission, possible action by the Village Board. Planner Malarkey?
Yeah, I'll make this as short as possible. This was we saw this application in June of 2020. At the time, petitioner was asking for a similar building, though slightly smaller. It was approved by the Plan Commission and Board for a 62-foot by 110-foot building, which is 6,820 square feet. The petitioner is now requesting the accessory building to be just 12 feet longer, so it'll be 62 feet by 122 feet, or 7,564 square feet. The building still meets all the required setbacks and size requirements. Just as a refresher, there's no home on the parcel, but we do allow ag buildings to be constructed without a principal residence on the property. So that was approved last time, and that will continue to be the case. All the conditions are the same in my staff report, except for the updated size of the building.
Mr. Fendrick, how'd the planner do?
Oh, it did great,
He did okay?
yeah.
All right, you have anything to add?
No,
Okay, questions from the plan commission?
I need it
or the
12
village
feet
board?
bigger because there wasn't enough room in between the doors.
Okay,
How long's your driveway gonna be to this?
I don't know.
It doesn't show one on here, that's why I was curious.
It-
there.
It shows the access, but
Oh, that's 350 feet from the road to the front of the building.
you're gonna go straight in?
Yeah.
But the access is way to the north.
Yeah, you're,
That's the wrong map then.
no.
Yeah, it is.
So there may be an existing culvert there for farm purposes?
No, no, the access location is here. You just gotta find some other, probably drew it on the wrong map. Look at the old map I give you
Let's see.
from a couple months ago. There's probably a different access location on that one.
No, same access location.
Well, the county gave me a
So-
driveway permit right there.
Right in front of your building?
Yep.
For access to a farm parcel, though, not for a single-family home.
Access for whatever I want it for.
So when the CSM was created, there was access locations that were noted on the CSM for each of the parcels based on distances between and site distances and so on. So I'm not sure,
There's a driveway access location. I might have it.
the- because this is a county road, the county issues driveway access permits for this, so it's not necessarily our concern, but as you can see, the access that was as part of the CSM was to the north. So this is
Where are you seeing that?
right here, there's a little access
yeah, okay,
location up
thank you.
there. So if they gave him a different location that doesn't match the CSM, I'm not really sure what to say about that.
Well, you could say my driveway's where the access location is. It's just a dirt driveway then.
Which, when I looked this up, because this was recently created, right?
The CSM was created a couple of years ago, then modified again.
Because I'm not finding this tax key, 6014.
Yeah, this is just made up, it's made, I don't know, 6-7 months ago.
So where does this fall in relation to like 15, tax key 15 and 16 and 17? Can you help me with that, Sean?
Yeah, let me get over to the parcel real quick. So this is the lot here. There's a 20-acre parcel right here.
And then I fiduciary rezoned it into 21 acres for me.
Right, so fiduciary not too long ago.
Okay, so right now it's, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Mhm.
but so right now it's listed as 6020. It's part of that parcel now, right?
It's its own parcel.
No, I understand. Let me rephrase that. When I'm in GIS, there's one large, almost 21 acre parcel that ends in 020.
That is the parcel we're talking about.
Okay, thank you. So that 020 has been subdivided.
No,
No,
this is his lot. He's got a
This is
20,
a
he's got a
21 acre.
20.9 acre
Oh,
lot.
okay, so it's not 6014, it's 6020.
Yes,
it.
my
Okay.
mistake.
All right, that's fine. I couldn't visualize
Oh,
it because
yeah,
I couldn't find it in the GIS.
Yes, yep, there you go.
That's all I was trying to do.
So in terms of access, the access point is intended to be here. He's saying the county gave him one.
it's 160 feet southwest of the, 160 feet off of the southwest property
So
stake.
I guess that's their prerogative if it's a county road.
Can we get that in writing?
Yeah, right here.
Send that to Sean.
How do you send an email here?
You said it's 160 feet off the south property line?
Southwest.
That's weird.
That is weird.
Why would they not look at the CSM?
I don't know. got Sean's email address?
Here, Sean, look, here's my driveway permit. They gave it right there. Maybe it's 376 feet off.
Because 160
It's probably in them numbers
feet
up there.
is about twice again as much as that wooded area to the north.
Yeah, that's about what it is.
You follow me?
Yeah.
For anybody who's looking. So if you take that wooded area in the corner and lay 3 of those along there, that's about 160 feet, give or take.
Okay. Is that
That's the best way I can describe it to you. And that would approximately match where his building is on his diagram.
Oh, there's a notice of access modification here on the title document that talks about the certified survey map, lot 2, and it shows whereas the owner now requests that the recorded access restrictions and requirements be modified, whereas Waukesha County now gives the notice of access modification under access permit 82020-23 to relocate the access to said lot 2 and modify access rights to the property referenced in Exhibit B. So they've modified it through a notice of access modification.
Yeah, do you want this email?
Sure, you can
Okay,
still send
you
it to
have
me.
Send it to you.
I'd give you a business card, but I was dumb enough not to bring anything in.
Which way does the front of your building face?
This way.
To the
Towards
south?
The bottom of the picture.
To the south?
What do you consider the front?
The side with the doors on, that's what's labeled the front.
Oh. Yeah, the south.
So in the drive would be what, 472 feet? Dan? To get to the other end of the building?
About that.
I would assume there'd be some kind of a parking area or something in front of the building, I would assume.
There is.
Okay, we're going to summarize where we're at, please.
This is for agricultural use, right?
Yep.
And that's, you can't change that later on. You can't start using it for something else. You understand
Yeah,
that?
it's
Okay.
trade.
All right.
You can use it for any farm-related uses.
Right, and there's a deed restriction that's required, that, that the ag building is for ag purposes only.
Okay, can we summarize where we're at, please?
And what, so he's just asked, all he's asking for is an additional 12 feet on the existing approved building. Looks like the county modified the access location to be in line with his building as opposed to the previously approved access location on the certified survey map.
Does that satisfy your concern,
Yeah,
Commissioner Buchholz?
yeah, I think they ought to show it on the drawing, though.
It is. He has the wrong picture up.
This is all you gave me. This is,
Well, look at the packet he has over there.
It's not shown on our packet.
Well, look at the packet Alan has.
He's got the same packet I do, I hope.
We don't have it.
We didn't get packets for this one.
Oh, no, we have this picture in our packet.
The one that's
This picture is.
being projected,
The picture that Sean has up here,
is being projected.
We have.
Is what's in our packet.
yeah,
We also have
this is the latest one you gave me.
However, the drawing that we have shows his driveway access on the north.
yeah,
west
correct.
corner,
Here,
And now it's on the southwest end.
Stephen. That's the one there, 122. But regardless, the access location is shown in the same position.
Sean, say that again.
There's two, the first application that was submitted in June and this application both show the access location in the north corner of the site. So.
Which is incorrect.
Which is incorrect. That's based, this is an excerpt from the CSM. He drew this on a piece of the CSM, which was fine, except the access location has since been revised by Waukesha County to no longer be there. It's further south in front of the building.
So the reality of it is, rather than what's projected on the drawing, it's generally
Down here.
opposite the location where the building's being sited. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, is everybody comfortable with that representation?
I would like to make a motion to approve the application subject to him sending you the change in the driveway
And the conditions in the staff
and the
report.
conditions in the staff report.
What else, right, that's not good.
I'll second the motion.
Oh, that- I sent it to.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second from, okay, so the motion is by trustee Stigler, second is by Commissioner Buchholz. Further discussion? Question, I just, Mr. Fendrick, and this motion includes the 7 staff recommendations and Planner Malarkey's report. Have you seen those? Are you familiar with what we're talking about?
No.
You would have seen them from last time around. They're the same conditions as before with the condition 2 modified for the size of the building.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what you're gonna build it in accordance with the plans and specifications as presented. It'll be 62 by 122 feet. You're gonna meet the height requirements, comply with the requirements of the district, record the deed restriction, pay your bills.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet all that. Yeah.
All right. Okay, further discussion? All the plan commission members understand the motion that's on the floor? All right, then all in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye. Aye. We have that, and opposed, have that passing 6-0. Is that appropriately, is that a recommendation?
Correct.
So that's a recommendation to the village board. Village board, are you prepared to act on the recommendation from the plan commission?
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation from Planning Commission.
I'll second. So the motion is by trustee German, second by President Fisher to accept the recommendation for approval with the conditions noted. Any questions? Not proceed to vote. All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes 5-0 unanimously. So we are at, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
We're at item 16, adjournment of the plan commission. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion came from Commissioner Buchholz. Is there a second?
I second
Commissioner
it.
Sisney, okay, all in favor, all plan commission members in favor of adjournment, keep saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So the plan commission is adjourned 6-0 at 9:18 a.m. or p.m. Thank you very much. Plan commissioners, you're excused. Plan village board will continue. 17 reports, item A is update on construction progress on maintenance of village roads. President Fisher, sub 1 is asphaltic seal coating of roads with black boiler slag for 2020. Sub 2 is crack filling of roads for 2020. Sub 3, flex patching of roads for 2020. I think we had this reported out at the previous meeting that the crack filling and flex patching by Thunder Road was completed several weeks ago. And the asphaltic seal coating with the black boiler slag, I don't remember the exact date, but I believe that was completed last week as well, so that work is done. I know DPW Director Noli, I think, has inspected it and basically found it all to be in order. Anybody have anything else to report out on that item? Then we'll go to item 17B is reprofiling of ditch McNulty at S42W 25122 Dale Drive, again from President Fisher here. That reprofiling of that ditch was scheduled to take place on Tuesday. Because of the wet weather that has come in, that's been pushed off. Weather pending, that is probably likely to take place on Monday.
Who's reprofiling it?
Workman Enterprises is going to provide an operator and a piece of equipment to do the digging with a ditch bucket, and our DPW people will be doing the trucking, the hauling, the reseeding, any of the handwork, shooting of grades, that type of thing. So they'll be working together.
Because wasn't there discussion at the last meeting about getting a quote and a price and all that stuff, and now it's just done?
I don't recall that we were taking quotations on that, no. We authorized the director to proceed on an hourly basis, $150 an hour, and get the job done. It's hourly
I think you
based
should
work.
go back and watch the tape from the last meeting.
Item 18, discussion and possible action items. 18A is Village of Waukesha Charter Ordinance. Put this down for Attorney Macy. I think everybody should have a copy of that. Attorney Macy and his staff put together the charter ordinance largely on the terms that we discussed at the previous meeting. I took a copy of it. I made some red line suggestions to it. So we're at that. Do you want to run through that quickly, Attorney Macy? It's self-explanatory.
See the draft tonight, I had a chance to glance at it prior to the meeting, none of the changes appear to be problematic or substantive. I haven't studied in great detail, but I do recommend we try to get it passed as quickly as possible to get the time limits right.
Okay, so members, thank you, Planner Malarkey, thank you, Engineer Janelli. Okay.
5 o'clock Thursday, next 2 weeks from today,
Correct.
on what subject again?
It's basically, we will convene here, and we're gonna go out and basically look at Merrill Hills Road, remnant parcels, and part and parcel to that is gonna be looking at condition of MacArthur Road for possibly repaving as part of the repaving program, so it'll be physical inspection of that.
I look forward to it, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, comments, questions, whatever on the charter ordinance. Again, Attorney Macy's recommended we tried to plow through this tonight. Could be left for his final review and so forth, but at least we'd like to get the substance of it approved.
See, so this originated from what document?
Well, at the last meeting, I think, and I know you weren't here for that, but if you looked at that, Attorney Macy, I believe, made recommendations to
Right,
us.
but that's not my question.
Well, I'm answering your question. Just hold on a minute, okay? But basically, we pare down what we were looking at, and he can explain it in his words, but to deal with some more limited issues, which is basically about the position of clerk treasurer. It was about terms of office for elected officials, and it was about addressing the issue of village constable and village marshal, and that we not try to include other issues in it. And I don't mean to put words in your mouth. Is that essentially the essence of it? Did I miss something?
No, that wasn't my question.
Well, all right, maybe I misunderstood your question.
That he redlined.
I'm sorry?
I created and handed out at the last meeting the document that he redlined. If that was your question, where did it originate from?
Okay, so you handed out a document at the last meeting?
I did.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
I think, actually, this one, I think you actually emailed that on through. The redlining is my part of it, but this is Attorney Macy's work product with my redlining.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you redlined it, not the attorney.
That's what I said, yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant where did the original
Right.
document come
That was my first question, yes.
from?
Yeah, okay.
This is the village president's suggested reading.
Okay, so, questions, comments, concerns? Does it accomplish what we were trying to do?
So we're,
We were trying to accomplish simple, easy, get it going, right?
Yes.
I mean, we're allowed to change this at any point in the future if we deem necessary, right? I mean, but this was just the basics to get it done quickly according
Sure.
to
It's
Attorney Macy and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, he can speak to it. We're repealing
We're just kind of
and
doing what he said.
replacing
You know?
certain sections in our existing village ordinance, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we want the names to be in here? And the village trustee seats shall be numbered as follows. The trustee the trustee seat currently held by Thomas Kalinsky shall be trustee number 1. The trustee seat currently held by David German shall be trustee number 2. Is that the best way to handle that?
You asking me?
Yes,
I don't know if it's the best way
or anybody else that wants to respond, I guess.
it's a way to handle it. It's not, I don't think it's the way we originally recommended it be handled, but I don't know that there's a problem with it.
Okay.
Why don't you just, while people are looking at, just run back through the timing on this or the process of what would happen if we're going to move forward on it in terms of enactment of this and so forth, please.
Okay, it starts by the approval, and then once it's approved, the clerk has to take specific steps in order to start the timeline. The timeline is the ordinance is not going to affect for 60 days. And if during that 60 days a request is made for a referendum on the ordinance, it goes to a vote of the village members as to whether or not they approve or not approve the ordinance. They can file right up to the 59th day. My current reading of the statutes, albeit this still needs to be checked more thoroughly, potentially, is that if they file, there's no way we're going to get the vote by December 1st, the election.
Sure.
And that could end up meaning that the clerk treasurer's position becomes elected in April, because nomination papers go out December 1st. There is an argument that has not been fully researched, and you and Vernon are in the same spots, that you could argue that since all the laws remain the same, that it's currently appointed and combined, it remains appointed and combined. I don't know that that's a really good argument, since villages, they're elected unless you do a charter ordinance. And there's not gonna probably be a lot of good law, but at least it has to be analyzed more thoroughly if that issue arises. We're hoping that you're adopting it, that the public accepts the fact that you're keeping status quo, and that status quo is what they want, and so there will be no request for the referendum, and there won't be a problem, and we won't have to deal with any of those issues. Does that make sense? And so I'm hesitant to do the research until we get to that issue, and the issue only arises if somebody asks for a referendum. Because if we get it done by, October 1st, which we're bearing down on, we should have it in place as long as the clerk gets, now it says that you have to publish, but if she talks to Vernon, Vernon will walk them through exactly what they did, because Vernon did not publish, because there's an alternate procedure now under 985 of the Wisconsin statutes to post in 3 places or to post in 1 place and put on the website. Now, actually, we adopted this last Thursday, I believe it was, in Vernon, and she went and did it that night. So that we started our 60-day period the night up. Now, this has to be checked, I have to go back and make sure, maybe even get a clean one from, we obviously have to get a clean one. The clerk has to get a clean one, and then she has to process it on top of all the other stuff she has to do. But, I'm just telling you, you asked me the procedure, that's the procedure. If there's no referendum, it goes into effect 60 days, and it'll remain appointed combined clerk treasurer.
And who can request a referendum?
Well, I'll pull up the statute. It's the citizens. I don't have that memorized, so I'm gonna pull that up.
While he's looking for that, it may take a minute, any other questions and concerns about the document, the substance of it? Is everybody good?
You want to go back through and read this first, though, Mr. Meese?
Well, I think, yes.
Okay.
I glanced at it, I didn't see any problems, but, I usually have another set of eyes look at it quickly so that there's, and we gotta get the clean one. A charter ordinance does not take effect until 60 days after its passage and publication. If within the 60-day period, a petition conforming to the requirements of 8.40 of the Wisconsin statutes is signed by a number of the electors of the city or village equal to not less than 7% of the votes cast in the city or village for governor at the last general election, is filed in the office of the clerk of the city or village, demanding that the ordinance be submitted to a vote of the electors. It may not take effect until it's submitted to a referendum and approved by a majority of the electors voting in the referendum. The petition and procedures for submission are governed by 9.20, parent 2 to parent 6 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Are you prepared to act? I think the motion would be, I'll take a swing at the motion here. The motion would be to approve the charter ordinance subject to final review by the village attorney. Is that an appropriate and sufficient motion?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I made the motion, second by trustee German. Any further discussion?
It would have been a whole lot quicker if we would have settled on a document like this 3 weeks ago before we did all the work on the other one.
Any further discussion?
Sorry, Mike.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Have that passing
We're
unanimously.
relating to the importance of getting it done.
Passing unanimously 5-0. Last item, action item that we have here is proposal from Signs and Lines by Stretch for signs, backlit replacement sign for Center Road. I think, unless I'm overlooking something that did not end up in your packet, but I think we had this at a previous meeting. It is for $600 and some odd. This would be for replacing the sign face or the sign face out in the monument sign at the road. I will make a motion to accept the proposal from Signs and Lines by Stretch for an amount of money not to exceed $700 to replace the backlit sign face for the sign on Center Road, and I so move. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor indicate by saying aye, and I made the motion. It was seconded by trustee Stigler. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? And item 19 here, accounts payable authorization of the payment of the bills. We're playing catch up. There are no bills that have been prepared for authorization this evening. That will come at the next meeting. So a motion for adjournment would be in order at this point in time.
I'll so move.
I'll second.
A motion by trustee Stigler, second by trustee Kalinsky to adjourn at 9:33 p.m. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We are adjourned. Thank you all.